Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. This is going to be our April 2025 compilation video. I know, it's July, and it's late, and I don't care, you're gonna get it anyway. No. It's been busy. We got back from NNL East at the end of April, and it's just sort of been a non-stop extravaganza. It is what it is. Real life takes precedence over goofy YouTube stuff that doesn't pay me, right? So we are going to do this video May and June. We'll get you all caught back up again, hopefully before we leave for the IPMS Nationals in Virginia at the beginning of August. Getting July out will depend on how much on the spot everyone is releasing things. One of the reasons these videos sort of run a little late is because where box art used to be added to Hobby Search and other sites that I use to pull the box art from early, like a month, 2 months early, it has come to the fact that a lot of the times the box art is not actually being added to the website until Hobby Search, especially, has the kit in hand and they've taken pictures of it themselves. For some reason, the manufacturers are not providing box art. I wonder if I'm to blame. Anyway, so it makes it go into the first week of the next month sometimes before the box art comes out. There's still one kit for June, and I'm recording this on the 15th of July that I still don't have box art for. I mean, I do because I've sourced it from someplace else, but waiting for Hobby Search to release it, it doesn't exist. And the kind of annoying thing about it is it's a kit I bought, and I'd kind of like to grok the instruction sheets a little bit before the kit gets sent over from Japan next month with a whole bunch of stuff. And I can't do that because there's no box art. There's also no instructions. My problems are ridiculous. Don't involve this video. Anyway, we have releases. Again, this is April stuff. So releases for Mobius, some Salvino's JR stuff, a Atlantis kit in here as well. We've got a big chunk of Aoshima and Hasegawa, a few odds and ends from Fujimi, and then actually some new kits and a Tamiya kit as well. Tamiya kit's kind of rare, right? You only get a couple of those a year. This compilation has 31 models we're going to talk about. It has one brand new tooling, one significantly modified tooling, and a bunch of decal reissues. As that's the way things tend to be, right? So let's start out here in the United States as we always do. Welcome to our new subscribers. There have been a few of you that have joined since NNL East. I want to welcome you all to the channel. Probably about a 10 of you that have floated in since we talked to everybody out there, so that's cool. Hope you guys are enjoying the Automotive Podcast, which is a live stream that we do here on YouTube every 2 weeks on Monday nights. We just did one last night on the 14th. Check the live tab on my channel because they won't show up in the channel just watching the videos. There's a live tab on the top of the channel header, and that'll give you all 27 plus episodes that we've done over the last year and a half. Plug in? Sure is. So over at Atlantis, we got a Keeler Customs release here of the 23 competition pickup. So this is obviously a 23 Ford T-bucket pickup trucky kind of thing. Keeler Customs means it comes with some plug wires and a few little odds and ends, 2 engines, and this is a old 1963-ish era Revell parts pack kit. If you remember, it would have been about this time last year, I think, or maybe a little bit later into last year, but it was last year. They released that Fiat dragster that was part of a double kit. Yeah, this is the bottom half of that double kit from 1963. So, I don't necessarily believe this is the first time this has been available in a model kit form since 1963, but it's been a hot minute since it was available, not just in pieces, but actually in a box in itself. I will give Atlantis some kudos because they have up there underneath the Keeler Customs logo that made from the original vintage molds thing. Excuse me, which they've done several kits, including that, the Revell-based Tri-5s and Nomad Wagon and things like that. It is something that I wish more companies would do when they are putting out these archaeological era toolings. Aoshima does it. Aoshima's boxes, if you look at the sides of some of the old ones, will say this is a vintage tooling. It does not build up with modern construction and engineering techniques. You may have to actually model a little bit to get this to go together. And I think I think this, or a version of it, is what old Tom, Rambler 69, put together. Not his most recent build that he just put out, but like the one before it, or maybe two before it. I think it might have actually been last year. And he's also put together a couple of the other sort of parts pack based kits over the last couple of years. And yeah, he'll tell you straight up, watch his videos, that these are not the easiest things in the world to build. So that being said, understand what you're getting yourself into. I just wish round 2 would follow this a little bit more. I think round 2 would not get in as much, and I'm going to use air quotes here, trouble as they do with the internet faux outrage people, if they would just put on there that, you know, this is an old kit and you know, expect it to be old. Because now round 2's put themselves in a weird position where they've done like the 68 Coronet and the 63 Nova Wagon and a few other odds and ends here, the 71 Demon, where they've recreated, remastered old tooling that kind of still builds old, if you will, but like way better than, you know, it has that nostalgia feel to it, but it's not necessarily a nostalgia kit in the sense that you can put it together and it actually fits, and there are clear pieces and clear headlights and stuff like that. And they're going to have more of those coming towards the end of this year with that Nomad Wagon and the Barracuda reissue and all those things. I think it kind of... The analogy I used the other day on a forum, tangent, brace yourselves, get a cup of coffee, is like, it's going to Best Buy and looking at a couple of laptops on display, right? And they're not actually out. You can't see the insides of them. They're just boxes with descriptions, and they tell you what it is, right? And the boxes pretty much say they're the same thing, right? Yeah, this is a nice laptop. This is also a nice laptop. This laptop over here from round 2, it costs a little bit more than the Revell laptop does. But, you know, the box art on the round 2 laptop is really, really cool. And here I'm thinking, because I just saw somebody the other day butchering absolutely to death a round 255 Chevy. The one that just got reissued not too long ago is the sort of street machine-y thing. If you then went, oh man, I really like, and there of course is a Revell Tri-5 that came out in the 90s, right? You know, the box art in the Revell one, it's a California wheels, whatever the hell that means. But this one over here, it's, you know, it's very nicely drawn box art. I think it's a Brad Leisure box art. He does really cool stuff. I'm gonna buy this because of the box art. And then you get it home, and instead of getting like a brand new laptop, you get an IBM Selectric typewriter. I think you have the right to be upset about that. Especially because you paid for it, right? Anytime you pay for something, you have the right to complain about it. It may be irrational, and you may be like overblown in your drama about it, but the thing came up on the forum of like of somebody saying, I really hate all these people whining about, you know, round 2 kits. Sometimes you have to be a real modeler. God, I hate that real modeler thing. Drives me up a fucking wall. But it's like, if you didn't know any better, because we had a lot of people come back into the hobby as a whole, not just automotive, but as a whole. A lot of people came back into the hobby during and after COVID, and most of them, for the most part, have stayed the last 4 years since then. If you don't have a deep knowledge of where kits came from and what their history is, you buy something and it's on the shelf as a new product, you expect it to be a new product. It shouldn't be the responsibility of the modeler to have a direct T1 line to Scalemates to go back and search it. And don't give me the whole, well, we used to have to type things and on paper with real ink, and then we had to put them in envelopes and mail them, and that's the way we liked it, because that's not how we do things anymore. New tooling, I will grant you, is not always the solution, because sometimes it comes out worse body proportion wise and detail wise than the old kit is. But at least it usually builds up pretty well. The engineering makes it all fit, and you're not fighting with it like you would with that old Tri-5 Nomad or the old 57 Chevy that Revell did, or any of these parts pack kits that Atlantis is putting back out. Is an informed consumer. It's what we've always been about on this channel. We're going to be, at the end of this month, on YouTube doing this kind of content for 10 years, for a decade now, and it's always been about, you make the informed decision. And I don't think you can make an informed decision if you're not warned about what you're buying on the box, if you're not super knowledgeable about the contents. Not everybody's going to watch my channel. I know that for a fact. I've been here for 10 years and I know what my subscriber count is. And, you know, it would help. I think it would help the casual builder, and that is probably 95% of the market, whether anybody wants to believe that or not. You guys that are watching YouTube, you guys that are making content on YouTube, people who belong to forums or on like 900 Facebook modeling groups, you don't represent the majority of the modelers. Most modelers still, to this day, are not involved in any kind of organized activity. So keep that in mind. Anyway, let's go over to Salvino's JR, because they put out a brand new-ish kind of kit here. This is Joey Logano's 2024 championship winner with the Ford Mustang. So yes, finally in April we got the new 2024-2025 Ford Mustang body. Now the kit itself is going to basically be what it was. The chassis, the roll cage, that whole, everything below the body shell, that is the same in the Camaro, it's the same as the Mustang, it's the same as the old Camry. That's a spec car. If you're not aware, you probably are. If you follow NASCAR, you either love this car or you hate it, depending on how you feel about it, especially if the numbers are forwards on the doors. But yes, we finally have a new Mustang. I'm not the biggest Logano fan. I didn't buy one of these because I really don't care if he fell off that car. But, you know, it's cool to have the new body, because after a year and a half of getting Camaro after Camaro after Camaro after Camaro, hey, this isn't a Camaro for a change. But we do have a Camaro, speaking of which, and that's the JR Motorsports 2025 Chevrolet. Apparently, that's all you need to say about it. Very interesting here. If you notice, the box on the Pennzoil car said 18 or older. This one says 21 years or older, because anybody's going to pay attention to that. And this is Buffalo Trace Distillery's Traveler's Whiskey sponsored car. I do appreciate the fact that after so much, you know, whining and whinging back in the early 1990s, or actually really late 1980s, that we couldn't have like a Miller Genuine Draft Rusty Wallace car. Now we just don't care if alcohol sponsors NASCAR, because it's a quote-unquote adult collectible, because we put 21 or older on it. Would that not have worked when I was a kid? Would that, when I was growing up and really into NASCAR and had a huge collection of NASCAR kits and was so upset when the Rusty Wallace car came out as the Pontiac Excitement livery, not the Miller Genuine Draft livery, and so much so that as a 13-year-old I wrote a letter to John O'Neill, who was the head of product development at AMT Erdl at the time, saying this is stupid. As a child, I realized this is stupid. Yeah, my opinions, my big opinions on modeling go way back. Anyway, cool car. The difficulty here will be painting it, because obviously it's a wrap and it's not an actual paint job, and it looks white in the box art, you know, that you saw on the screen, but it's really kind of a beigey tan color, kind of an aged paper almost, papyrus color. Ooh. And like the decals are there for all the orange stuff and the gold full transitions on the number and stuff like that, but the base color, like they molded it in something that's sort of an off-whitey color, but I don't know that anyone has made a paint for this. You need to find the Pantone code for what this color is, because it's a wrap and therefore it's digitally printed, and you would need the number the digital printer used. And you can make paint out of Pantone codes, because one thing is the same as another. But I don't know that anybody has. Maybe they have. Maybe it's been the last 2 months since this kit's come out. You know, Scale Motorsports, or not Scale Motorsports, but Scale Finishes or somebody like that has come out with a color for this. But as of press time, I think your best bet would have been to like clear coat the body, you know, do all your prep to it, and then clear coat it and put the decals on, and just sort of deal with the color the kit's molded in. It's not the best solution, but it might be the only solution for the moment, unless you want to sit there and, you know, drip drop paint and mix your own paint, in which case, you know, if you have that eye to be able to do that, first of all, thumbs up. I can't, but you know, it's the option, right? Then we go over to Mobius, where we got a few kits out of them this month in April as well. If you were at NNL East, you probably walked out with all three of these, or maybe a couple of them. I walked out with a couple of them myself, and they are the releases of the 65 Novas and the new Ford pickup truck. So starting in the Novas, you have a Resto Mod version here with the blue box art. A lot of hemming and haw about what was different about the 65 Novas. Well, the grill's different, and I believe the rear valance treatment is different, and there's a few little other odds and ends that differentiate a 64, which is the way the kits have come out in the past, and a 1965 model year. So all of the updates to this kit are going to be based in the physical appearance of the car, making the parts look like the 1965 model. If you have the rest of Mod 64, this is what this is. Just, again, those grills, new grills and parts. This car in the red box art, which shows a very, very base Chevy Nova 2 hardtop, is a Super Sport coupe. It is an SS coupe. So if you have the 64 Nova Super Sport that came in the yellow box art, this is the same kit, just again with the 65 pieces added to it to update it, really, to the 65 from the 64. And then you got the 1971 Ford F-250 Custom 4x4, or as it actually sits here in my file, says Sean's Ford on it, because Sean Svensson, one of the co-hosts that I have with the Automotive Podcast, of course, built the actual test shot. If you were at NNL East last year in 2024, you saw the test shot. If you were there this year in 2025, you saw it come back again, this time with a different set of tires on it and weathered up and have some parts added to it. And it was Sean basically finishing off the truck the way he wanted it to be, rather than what it was to, sort of do the box art. And of course, he drew all the box art for this, so this is his artwork as well. Very cool job he did. It's probably one of the better box arts, really, that's out there right now. Enough kissing his ass. Let's talk about the model kit. So if you bought the, I think it was a 1970 Ford F-250 4x4, it came with a giant highboy picture on the front that when you open the model kit, you did not get any parts of. You got a four-wheel drive truck, but you did not get a jacked up F-250. So a lot of people were kind of upset about that. And you had to buy a suspension trans kit from Fireball Models to fix that problem. Well, this has that suspension finally. This has the highboy 250 suspension underneath of it, so you really do get it jacked up that far. It is not just box art. The parts are really in there. There's a big question that came out when the box art was shown. It was like, well, does it really have the suspension pieces? And, not too much mocking on that, because that's actually a reasonable question. But yes, it actually has the suspension pieces. You also get that front bumper winch. You get the wheels and tires. I would say the tires and the wheels look decent. The wheels especially look really nice. You might want to put bigger tires on it. That's the only thing about this kit, right? It kind of needs a bigger tire. The wheels look good in anything up to like a 35-inch wheel. I've seen people put those kit wheels into Aoshima America Satco wheels. I've seen them put them into like the Tamiya wheels that come on the Montero and the Land Cruiser sport options that came with the big beefy tires in them. I've seen them put them in Fireball resin, Model Works resin wheels. I've seen them put them in Scenic Unlimited wheels, and they look good in pretty much anything that is reasonable for like an off-road truck, right? 35 inches beyond that, you're kind of being ridiculous as far as everyday drivability. So look, those wheels look good. You don't need to replace those. The tires, yeah, you probably do. It also comes with that KC light rack, and it has the GUN rack inside, which has the two pew-pew sticks, one of them being a Shogun, the other being a Rafale. And I only censor myself there, not because I have anything against those items, but because, if you don't realize, YouTube runs a algorithm that analyzes the audio track to the videos. And so if you say certain things, you might get told not to say certain things. And while that is a little bit of BS, it is the way things are, and I choose not to have this video, bamfed into outer space. So the things for the GUN rack, they're there. That was another question, was whether or not it actually came with those items. It does. You can also buy the wheels, tires, and the equipment rack separately. I believe also the bumper. If you go to Pegasus' website, because remember, Pegasus owns Mobius right now, you can buy those actual items from them separately if you wanted to expand your horizons into other pickup trucks with the equipment offerings that are there. That'll take us overseas to Japan. We'll start over at Tamiya, since there's only one of those. And that is a reissue of their Toyota Gazoo Racing Supra, this time as a quote-unquote custom. This has one parts runner of new parts. You get as we look at the box art, right? You get the front lift spoiler, you get the side skirts, you get the rear valance spoiler, you get the side sort of inserts right below the door there, that little black thing. That's new. The other one is smooth. It doesn't have any kind of like aerodynamic ribbing for your pleasure to it. There's a new rear spoiler here, and of course those wheels are brand new as well. This is so close. Wheels and rear spoiler being the differences. This is so close to being a GR Supra final edition. The ones that they made, I think it was last year technically, that sent the Supra off into the sunset. If they would have made a final edition, I would have bought one. This custom one, I don't not like the wheels, but it's kind of like, hey, there's some random pieces that fit a Supra, yay! And I would have bought the real thing. This, I have a Supra. I have trans kits for the Supra. I'd rather buy, build the trans kit to the Supra than this. So yeah, I didn't buy one of these. Although if I ever run out of Supras locally and I need to put a trans kit on one, I guess I could pick one up for that. But Studio 27 in the interim between April and the current present day have made a carbon fiber set for this. They made a carbon fiber set for the original one, but this new one includes carbon fiber for all of the side skirts and front and rear valance spoilers and the side insert, because again it's a different shape, and the rear spoiler and stuff like that. So it's a slightly different one than came out the last time. And, well, it'll perk that up. If you look at the box art closely enough in person, the front lip spoiler is carbon fiber as far as it's drawn on here, but they don't include decals for it. So if you want to make it look like the box art, you kind of need some carbon fiber, either some sheet and make your own templates, or, again, the Studio 27. I know the Studio 27 is not everyone's favorite jam, because it's kind of hard decals to work with sometimes, but is what it is. Going over to Fujimi, there's 4 releases here, and they're all sort of, what's Fujimi? So first up, you have the Nissan Skyline GTR, this with the Nismo wheels and the Nismo bumper. This is part of one of the 40th anniversary Nismo kits. It's the 40th anniversary of Nismo this year, Nissan Motorsports. So this comes with a knockdown assemble it yourself model display case, and the shtick of all these 40th anniversary ones with the cases will be it has a 40th anniversary logo on the case floor. The R34s from Fujimi are snap-tight kits. They are really third tier. If you look at your tiers of R34s, your Tamiya kits, your Aoshima kits, your Fujimi kits are down in the basement. Aoshima kits aren't really a whole lot better than the Fujimi kits in terms of like the chassis. Everything's molded into it and it's real rudimentary, but obviously Aoshima offers you all the tuner versions of the car. And Tamiya, while they offer you a Z-Tune version, don't offer you anything else. It's all pretty much factory stock, but their kits of course are better, both from a quality standpoint and a parts content standpoint and just a realism standpoint. Like there are some, hemming and hawing about the fact that like the Z-Tune isn't technically really as much of a Z-Tune as it should be, because there's some parts that just carry over from the regular R34s that would have been replaced on a Z-Tune. But you gotta sort of cut your losses somewhere with an investment. You can only put so much money into something like that, so it is what it is. Over to the Mitsubishi Lano Evo 9 with the GTW wing. Ooh. So yeah, there's a parts runner in here with the wings. The GTW wings are the same in every single release. There's a parts runner with 2 wings on it, and so you get the same ones no matter what. I hope that it is wider than the box art shows, because the box art's kind of like, that wing is not wider than the trunk lid is, let alone the actual sort of rear hip, silhouette of the car. It looks ridiculous. And strong. It's like, oh look, you got a little spoiler for your Evo 9, a little spoiler. Oh, kit itself's pretty good. It's a 2000s era Fujimi kit, and all things equal, it's a pretty decent curbside. Interior paneling lacks detail like a lot of the 2000 era Fujimi kits do, but from the outside, it's an Evo 9. I have one of these. It's I'm trying to think of what the one with the window masks. This will have window masks in it too. They've had it since they redid the Evo series with metal mesh for the grills and the window mask being included. This has all that, just the wing being the extra. And then we're going to go on to the Drift King series here. We've got an AE86 Truno. Excuse me. Got the EAS, the Easy Alignment System chassis underneath of it, so that's sort of a saving grace that the kit isn't a complete and total waste of your time. It's cheap. They're like $15. Guess it'll want Wantanabes in it. The shtick of this, because you may recall from the last couple of videos that they've done a bunch of E86 Trunos and 11s, this has a carbon fiber hood decal. Literally the only difference between how this is released and how the last Truno was released. And then you have this, which is a Nissan 180SX Type X. So it's the latest late model version of the S13 180SX. You may realize that Aoshima just released a brand new tool of this car, the Type X. So there's really not a lot to like here. It has a new the EAS system underneath of it, which, you know, it's kind of a little cool because you get the like pose the wheels and all that kind of stuff. It only comes with that custom set of wheels you see in the box art image of the real model. The only sort of saving grace of this kit specifically would be it has left-hand drive, and the Aoshima kit does not. But beyond that, the Aoshima kit's going to cover all your bases otherwise. So, you know, buyer beware in terms of that, because, you know, some people care about that, really, and if you don't, then you're going to be like, why'd I buy this, right? So, over to Aoshima, we got a couple of cars in the special lineup here that are technically part of the police car line, but they're special editions, so they're not going to be part of it permanently. I believe these sort of tie into last month's movie cars, TV show cars, in the sense that these are sort of other things were in the background. This is a Ken and Mary Skyline. It's branded as a 1972, and let's just put it this way: Aoshima's 70s, 80s Skylines are not that great of model kits. They're cold curbside, old motorized kits. Bang, the rivets into the wheels with a hammer kind of assembly, tongue depressor, holding your steering wheels, your wheels together and stuff like that. So not a lot going on here that, unless you really want to buy and build a sedan police car, not a lot going on for you there. And then there's also this Skyline Japan patrol car. This is a 77 Skyline, so it's the C110 version. And again, the C110 is not a particularly like great model kit. Ironically, Fujimi makes a C110 Skyline they did somewhere in the mid 2000s. That's like 100 times better than this, and it's a sedan as well. So maybe you could get the decals and the police equipment and throw it on the Fujimi kit. And very rarely will I ever tell you, hey, you should buy a Fujimi kit instead of something else. But in that case, yeah, that's definitely one of them. And then we have the school idol project. So this is the, let me get the actual terminology out here because I have the screens up to make sure that we'd be able to talk correctly. This is the Love Live Sunshine Subaru Impreza WRX STI. So this is a 2010 WRX STI. This is one of these James Tester anime girl cars. And we sit here and giggle, again, another podcast co-host, but he actually owns this model kit. So yeah, another one of the James Tester's anime cars. Now, the instructions will tell you to build this as a left-hand drive Japanese car, obviously, but it does still include all the left-hand drive parts. So you could build this as a US car with a very entertaining livery on it. The Live Love Live girls here, Live Love Sunshine being the project of this specific item, but the Live Love Live is what the group is called. So there's a big decal for both sides of the car, the hood and the roof. So it's almost an anime wrap, but not quite, because obviously the front fenders and bumpers and stuff like that aren't wrapped. But yeah, it's something if you're interested and you're not afraid of some decal work. And then we have a couple of kits that are being released that have one new part added to them, and suddenly they're brand new kits. And I bought them because, hey, they're not kind of weird anymore. So first up, you have a Toyota RN30 Hilux lift-up custom. This is a 1970s Hilux, and these two, the kit I'm going to talk about after this, these two kits share a chassis. These kits are actually old. I don't know if they're necessarily their old toys or their old snap-tight kits or something. They got the body tooling from somewhere else. They did not tool this or the Nissan themselves. Somebody else did. And then they put an interior and a chassis underneath it that they did tool. So they share the same chassis. And so what was done here is there's a new rear suspension components in it that create an actual, like, legitimate four-wheel drive truck. This truck in the past has been offered as a lowrider, as a great big jacked up truck, but it's never been offered as sort of like a stock suspension height before. And now you have that with this kit. And that was also done to the 720 Datsun truck on a lift up custom. You could steal the wheels out of this or the tires out of this and put it onto the Mobius F250, because those are the Satco Super Swampers that a lot of people would be looking for. This, I like the 1980s era graphics that are on it. I would want to do this one black with those sunset graphics that are on the side of it. Both of these two are Japanese only, so they are left-hand drive JDM, right-hand drive JDM cars, but they're still pretty cool nonetheless, because again, it's kind of a stock suspension day 2 kind of truck, and that's something that's never been offered before. And then the last one of these sort of modified mini trucks is this, the LN106 Hilux Street Custom. So this is basically a 1995 Tacoma, really, and they've added into it a bunch of stock parts for the chassis. This is another one. You could get this in a quad cab. You could get this in a half cab. You could get it slammed to the ground. You get it jacked up into the air. But you could not get it as sort of a factory stock kind of truck. And now it is. And the best part for you folks here in the United States, this comes with left-hand drive. All of those jacked up, slammed down, and everything in between trucks never did. They've always come, well, they came with left-hand drive one time back in the 90s when these were new. But ever since then, they have always had JDM right-hand drive interiors in them, and the dashboard pieces and the wipers and things like that make it a left-hand drive vehicle were tooled up in the Hilux Surf, the Forerunner version of this. And for some reason, that dashboard was never transferred into the pickup trucks. But now, you got a whole bunch of extra pieces with this, believe me. Now, it has been. And the best part about this Hilux Street Custom is the fact that, all of the body work that was done to this, and is a thing they do in Japan, is US spec. For some reason, it's a really big kick over there to take your Hilux and throw a US spec grille, a US spec front bumper, a US spec rear bumper, rear taillights, mirrors, all of the parts that, we would do this to our cars to turn them into JDM spec in the United States, right? You've seen some people take a 240SX and turn it into a Silvia or a Fairlady. Japan, they do the exact opposite. They're like, hey, you got this Hilux, let's turn it into an SR5. And you got an SR5 here, and really no work involved. They have released, intentionally or unintentionally, what amounts to a stock long bed Toyota truck, US spec. So that's really cool. I like that. Intentional or not, that one came out and was it was like, I see what you did there. I don't know if you meant to, but I'll take it. Over to Hasegawa, we have several kits to talk about here. So first up, we got the Lancia Stratos HF Custom version. So if you're not aware, because you only see the rally cars, Hasegawa also does a street civilian, if you will, version of their Lancia Stratos kit. What this kit has in it is the over fenders and rear spoiler and rear hoop that goes over the top of the back door, over top of the door frame there, of the rally car. So there's a bunch of rally car parts included in this, and then that chin spoiler is a new 3D printed item that is included, and so you get this custom version, very much akin to the Hondas and Toyotas and other things they've done, where they've taken the race car parts and thrown them into the street car parts, so you get sort of a streetified race car. Same idea here, although a streetified Stratos is kind of silly because it's a rally car. It was driven on the street anyway. It's not as much of a track car as some of the other things that they've offered are. Next up, you have a Mazda Cosmos in the Ultraman series with a Monster Attack Team vehicle here. This has been done a bunch. It looks like, I believe this is a picture of the actual movie car, so that's kind of cool. But the new shtick here is you get the little badge pin for the Monster Attack Team included. It's a little metal enamel pin. So if you collect Japanese culture, that's an opportunity to get a little something in a model kit. Mazda Cosmos is a nice build anyway. And then we have in the also adding parts department, a Nissan Sunny GB122. This will be a 1980s version of the Nissan Sunny's truck. And this is fire pattern with chin spoiler. So The Sunny trucks have been offered with a chin spoiler before. This is a different chin spoiler than are in the other ones. And then, of course, you've got these flame graphic decals included as well. Otherwise, kit carries over. You have this, the Toyota Supra Turbo A70 1989 Macau Gia Race. So this is the FET Motorsports car. After the JTC season, it was sent to Macau for the Gia Race in Macau. There are 2 cars. You get decals to do both. You get the 6th place and 7th place overall finishers with these. So just kind of a cool extension here. Other than the change to decals, the kit continues on the same. You got the 1992 Nissan Fairlady Z Twin Turbo 2x2. No new parts to this. This sort of just recombinates a bunch of parts that are included and have been tooled up for the 96 version and the 89 version and so on and so forth. And you assemble them into a 1992 twin turbo. They did the 1992 naturally aspirated. So for people who follow the channel, and especially the podcast, this has the turbo bumper. Then you have this. This is the big modified reissue, and this is a Isuzu Belllet 1600 GTR in what they're calling race configuration. So if you can't tell from the box art, this is a museum car. This is a restored, over-restored really, version of a real race car. So this is a real race car, real race livery. Obviously Japan in 1970 wouldn't have been like really complicated as far as the graphics go. This car represents, again, let me get this out correctly because the information's here, so let's use it. This is a 1970 Japan All-Star Race, Silver Star Cup B, 2nd place overall, 1st place in class. So, winner, winner, chicken dinner, quite literally. This has one big box-sized parts runner added into it. This includes, obviously, the over fenders and all the racing interior bits. There's a new dashboard included. There's a racing seat, the intercooler on the front there, and all that sort of stuff. All of the new race parts are included there for a big modified reissue. And it was kind of wondering what was going on there because it's got the stamped metal floor pan. It came out as a civilian involved, and they've released several different civilian versions of it, and also an anime version of it for Yokoshiro Mechadoc. And like, why was this stamped floor? Like, that's a race car thing. You see a stamped floor in the CAD or in the parts in a Hasegawa kit, the modern Hasegawa kit that's being released. There's a race car version of this coming at some point. And so kind of wonder what the race car version was. And like, haha, it's this. At press time, we know that there's actually a second Isuzu Belllet race car coming in August. So, yeah, not only is there one, but there's 2. So now I see why they chose to do a race car version. We're going to just do like a one-off, over-restored, museum piece. You could have done it without putting the floor in, because like, is that really a race car? Is it really stripped out in the interior, or does it just look like a race car on the outside? I've not seen pictures of the inside of that. I don't know the answer to that question, but I kind of wonder, exactly how racy that race car really is. So there is that. So that'll take us over to, lastly, before we dash out the door here, I am now in a different place than I was, because that, if you didn't notice, there was a real crappy edit there because I ran out of time on the first part of that recording. Anyway, over to new for brand new kit, brand new models. So this is the BMW M4 GT3 2022 Year of the Champion. So this box art card will build you the 2022 DTM Championship car, Shell Helix car. Very cool livery. It's a very impressive set of decals, and actually, if you get the photo etch set, it replaces a whole bunch of decals with even better decals. I kind of don't understand why they don't just put the better decals in the kit to begin with, but yeah, it is what it is, and I get it. It's a selling point to buy the PE set. So this is a brand new tool. Doesn't share anything with any of the other BMW kits they've done in the past. Some of the 320i kits, they share chassis and interiors and stuff like that. But this is a from-the-ground-up scratch new tool, and this is the modern BMW GT3 offering. Now, in 2025, we're in the Evo spec, which changes a bunch of things. And so this car is only good for the 2022, 2023, and 2024 race seasons. which is fine. I mean, that takes us up to current date, right? There's right now at press time. It's become my verbal crutch for this video, but at press time there is a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6 sets of decals that are either available or about to be available for this in July. So you know, you're not stuck building this specific car. It's molded in white, so you don't have to worry about it being red like the box art shows. But very cool. I have 6 of them. I got them back when these things came out, and yeah, they look really good. I'm sure that the very, very picky folks in Europe who pick apart every new kit like it's you know, ran over their grandmother's dog will find a whole bunch of stuff wrong with it. But looking at it, it looks like an M4. I'm sure that I will see things, as I have with a bunch of the other kits, that once they pointed out, that I can't unsee. But it's one of those things of like, this is what's offered, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get them because I like the cars, and especially the drivers who drive the cars. You'll notice on the box art there was something on the bottom that said Italian ink printing. So yeah, they have cartograph decals now. I don't know that that's necessarily a thing, right? Now, that'll offend a whole bunch of people. The cartograph make the best decals out there. They make great decals. The best? I'm going to argue that the folks over in China who are doing decal printing at this point make as good, if not better, decals than cartograph, and they're cheaper than cartograph. Go ahead, send some artwork to cartograph and see how much they're going to charge you to do it, because they've got all of these major manufacturers' decals. If you come in as like a nobody and try to get some decals printed, it's going to cost you a fortune. And they've raised prices since COVID, and then inflation, and then tariffs. It's ridiculous. So I understand why they went with this, because it's like a statement of like, we've arrived, like we make good quality model kits, and now we're using cartograph decals. I don't know that it was needed. I think their kit decals, after they got rid of all of those Cruise, the people that made the Chevy Cruise decals, because those were really legitimately awful sets of decals, for the last 5 years or so, especially since COVID, the decals have been fantastic. No issues with them at all. To get cartograph, just to get cartograph, that's an expense to spend money, right? So with the kit, obviously you get the PE set that is available. Does not come with it. It is available separately. You get 2 sheets of photo etch, much like all new photo etch. It includes sort of your basics, your bezels, your bezels. Well, there's bezels here, but your grills, your window nets in this case, your wing struts and supports, all the seatbelt material plus a little bit of fabric. You get an antenna and the air. I don't know if there's an air jack connector in this one or not, but at least the antenna base. There's also turned metal, and then there's 5 sheets of decals included in here as well. These things are so ridiculously thick. I don't have one sitting here to show you, but they're barely contained in the envelope with all those decals. And all the decals are carbon fiber. There's carbon fiber for the chassis bottom, for the chassis top, a whole bunch of stuff for the interior, as well as the exterior. And I don't know who designed this carbon fiber, but it's finally showing that they're listening, that they cannot include just giant, big chunks of carbon fiber the shape of the door panel and expect that to fit over a door panel that does a whole bunch of undulations. The decal will rip, the decal will not fit because you can't stretch it in all the directions it needs to go at one time. A great example of that is if you have the new set that covers the M8, the GTE car. Like, it is a big one-piece chunk that covers the entire door panel. And I will say, from having built the interior of one of those kits before, I jacked up the paint job on the exterior so bad that project is... It's been forever until I get a new body for it, because I can't fix the body. Trying to get that big piece of carbon fiber to fit over a door panel that undulated in like 7 different directions, it doesn't fit. Like, it doesn't. Like, I got it on there as good as I can, and with the interior, with the panels being black behind dark carbon fiber, you can't see it. And probably once the kit's assembled, especially if it's on a black car or something like that, you probably couldn't tell. But it is really crappy compared to the Studio 27 M8 carbon fiber sheet, which breaks that door panel into like 5 pieces of decal. That's what this does in the M4. It splits it into like 3 or 4 pieces, each of them fitting into a specific little undulation or dip or rise in the door panel, and yeah, that, my friends, fits much better. You don't have to worry about breaking anything. And then there's, like I said, there's a bunch of different additional decals in here that add some detail to the decals. It's kind of weird. I've never seen them do that before. They'll throw like Saybelt decal things in there because they're not licensing Saybelt, so you get the logos without, you know, shh, don't tell anybody. And of course, all the rally cars that had tobacco liveries, the tobacco livery part was in the decal sheet to the P set because shh, don't tell anybody. This one has like several different decals that replace kit decals. It's kind of an interesting choice, but you know what? It is what it is, as the saying would go. So we have a couple other new kits that are releases with SK decals included. And these are only available in Japan. When I looked at these before we started recording this today, these are still available for sale. So if you wanted to buy them, you could from a few different places. You could also just buy the decal sheets separately from SK Decals. While there is no physical parcel mail between Hong Kong and the United States still, which really just annoys the shit out of me, there is envelope mail. And so you can get decal sheets sent over. So you could just buy the decal sheet from Frankie itself, or there's a bunch of people that sell SK decals and do the same livery without buying this kit specifically. But this, for a couple bucks more than the actual kit cost, gets you another set of liveries. So first up, you get the Audi A4 BTTCC Championship car from 1996, and this one has the Audi A4 Super Touring Wagon Cup 1999 AZK Phoenix livery, the Giver livery. This also includes the decals because the base livery is the same, and there's just differences with like door placards and some associated sponsorships. Also does the 1999 Gia Race of Macau winning car. So there is a alternate livery included in this. So that's pretty cool. And then you have this kit, which is the BMW 320i E46, the Super Production 2001 car. The Don't Call It a Marlboro car. And the decal livery included here is Shazam, the BMW 320i 2002 Gia Race of Macau Team Schubert car. I believe this is the winning car for that race, or somewhere on the podium. I believe it's the winning car, though. And it's Watson's Water. God bless Watson's Water. Watson Water, all the thing. Basically, Watson's is a convenience store chain, and they really sell their bottled water. So, but this is an institution within the Gia Race of Macau, is the Watson's liveries, because they're all this sort of fluorescent green, fluorescent yellow kind of deal, and with a checkerboard backs to them. A lot of BMWs involved there, so that's pretty cool. And then lastly, we have the reissue of BMW 320 SI, the E90 version of this, which is the Brands Hatch 2008 winning car, and you get Shazam, the 2009 Brands Hatch British Touring Car Championship livery for Team RAC. And Mr. Turkington there won the actual 2009 British Touring Car Championship. So that is pretty cool. It was the first time a gentleman from Northern Ireland had won the BTCC. And Paul over Pro Scale will make you the rack paint, this orange specifically. So you can't, and you know, worried a lot about that Traveler's Whiskey livery and how would you paint it? Well, you don't have to worry about that with these rack cars, because the orange out there exists and is ready to rock and roll for you just by going over there and purchasing it. So anyway, guys, that updates this April 2025 video. Again, we're going to try to get this all caught back up to June before the end of July, so that we are rolling through the rest of the summer on time. But in the meantime, hope you guys are enjoying your summer. It's been awful hot recently, and we'll see you guys on the other side.